Hey guys, welcome back to Reverse 1999. In today's video, I want to talk about a quote-unquote mistake that I've made. It isn't completely game-breaking. It just means I could have progressed further if I had have played this a bit differently. But, you know, I had my tunnel vision on for getting my A Knight to I3, and then he got there and it really didn't change too much for me. So there's a couple things I want to cover in this one. I want to cover like your I3 priority and when I think it's worth working on that first I3 unit. The mistake I did, which was grinding it just before an event, and this is something to definitely keep in mind as we get more big events in the game, is we do have the foresight of the CN version to know what we're going to get from the events, and you know, probably avoid farming materials for a character that you may just end up getting from the event anyway, because then you could redistribute those resources elsewhere. For instance, A Knight, some of these materials I could have got from the event and, you know, saved a bunch of stamina and leveled my other characters at this stage. So that's the first one. The next thing I want to look at is the event coming up and why you should definitely pick up everything, even if it's not used on a unit that you are using at the moment. I also want to talk about one unit that's going to use these materials that a lot of people may have and you may want to consider. So let's get into it. So first of all, like I said, I grinded super hard for my A Knight to get him to Insight 3. This costed me a ton of stamina, and honestly, if I look at this account where I'm at, I am still stuck on the artificial somnambulism stage 15. It's really hard, and his I3 didn't really make a world of difference to me. I feel like all the resources I put into him to do that would have been better placed into all these other characters who basically get one shot, getting their resonance up, and also leveling them up further to make my teams more balanced so that I could push further than what I did with all those resources into A Knight. The other thing is I did it just before we have this event, which if we go over to this event, we look at the resources, you can see we're getting some pretty decent resources. And with this event, I definitely think you want to prioritize stamina on farming to get the currencies to buy this stuff from the shop, because it's absolutely huge. Even if you're not using the snake around the apple things, the books or the candles, even if you don't have a character right now that you want to build that's using them, definitely pick them up, because these things take so much damn stamina to farm that it's absolutely ridiculous. My A Knight, I think I've been farming for him for about a week for that insight, which is a lot of resources I could have had placed into other characters. So you definitely want to pick up all of these things and as much as you can from the shop. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we've got the new Psycube and stuff like that. But just something to keep in mind as we move forward is that we will see these events coming based on CN, and plan ahead during the next events. I stupidly shouldn't have farmed my everything so soon because I could have just had a bunch of those resources. Even the materials, look at some of the other materials in this event down lower that can be used to craft the other things that we need. So, you know, it was definitely a mistake, but hey, I was impatient and I wanted my I3 A Knight because the dude's a boss. So that is that one. Now, the other thing that I want to mention, I still think your first two characters that you do insights on want to be your two main damage dealers. So the next Insight 3 I do will be my Eternity, but I am going to wait some time. The next thing I want to prioritize on my account is getting my other 4 characters, so the other cores of my 2 teams, to about level 20 to 30. I want to get them all to about 20 to 30-ish, and I want to get them all around level 6 to 7 resonance. So as you can see, my resonate on these are pretty low, so I definitely want to go ahead and farm some of that, and just get them just upgraded a bit, so they're a bit chunkier, they deal a little bit damage, because if you look at my Bighorn Bloom and my Ann Lee, they are both good supportive characters that can also deal some really solid damage. So I want to get all these characters built up a bit more before I look to anything else. Then if we look at this event, we are going, and we look at my insight. So Eternity is going to be my next I3 that I do make, and we look at her. She wants the whatchamacallit, the apple things. She wants those. So if we go over back to here, we are going to get 3 of those from the event. And for those that don't know, the apple and the snake, they are like they are the really hard thing to farm, because you need a ton of materials. So that's fantastic. Now the other things we get here is the book and the candles. However, if we look at my Eternity, she needs the bullets. So that is something something that I will eventually have to farm for her, and that just is what it is. So I'm not too stressed on that. I will eventually farm the bullets to get her upgraded, but I'm going to use those snake on the apples as for her, and that will be my next upgrade. But once again, I'm not going to take her to I3 until I get all 4 of these units to about level 20 to 30, and also Insight 6-ish is the point that I'm setting myself to work towards. And that is my priority. After I get them to that stage, I will boost Eternity to 50, and then I will farm for the bullets to go ahead and get her Insight 3. Now, after that, something really nice from this event, and if your 2 carries aren't using these resources from, the event, that's okay, because there's still other units that do use these. For instance, if we look at, we get 3 of the Snake Apple and we get 8 of the book. If we jump back into the game, and this is a character that I think a lot of people are going to have, and that is Beacorn Bloom. And we go to her insights, so you can see she needs 6 of the book. We're getting 8 from the event. She needs 2 of the snake. We're getting 3 from the event. So I think this is a fantastic one. And for me personally, on my account, depending on if other events come beforehand, I'm obviously, like I mentioned, get these guys leveled up, get the Resonate up. Then I'm going to do Eternity to Insight 3. Then after that, I'm going to look to Ann Lee and Beacorn Bloom as my next 2 options to upgrade. If we look at Ann Lee and we go to her Insight, you can see that we don't get, none of the materials we get from the event are the ones we need. And the fact that if we look at Beacorn Bloom, we're going to have all the 6 of those books, it means I only have to farm 2 of these snake apples, which if it's a 6-star character, I'd have to farm 3. So I think my next stop, based on what this event gives us, and how little resources I will have to farm comparable to a 6-star that I don't have all the items ready, I'm going to do Beacorn Bloom. And I think for other people, she is a fair one to consider after this event, to use those resources on, especially if the 2 main carries, something like Centurion, doesn't use any of the items that we get from this event. So if your 2 main carries don't use those resources and you just have them for Beacorn Bloom for free, then feel free to slap them on her. She is a great support unit, still meta in CN, for reality teams, because she reduces the reality defense, but essentially she's a good support, but she also brings a ton of damage and control with her ultimate and her other skill. So because she has the extra damage tied in, not only is upgrading her going to give her extra survivability, but it's also going to give her that extra supporting damage for one of your teams. So that is my thoughts around it. Like I said, my mistake, I feel like working on A Knight so early, especially before an event that was going to give me some resources that would have helped me build him, was a bit of an error on my part. I probably should have waited, but you know, I still wanted to go ham. And honestly, my other account, I have leveled my units more evenly. All my other 4 units are around Insight 2 level 20-ish. My Centurion, which is my main carry, is at Insight 2 level 50, and my sub carry is around level 30 to 35, who is Regulus. So I've got those units, and honestly, on that account, I am poised in a position where over here on the Artificial Somnambulism, on stage 15, which is where I'm hard stuck here, I am at a point where I'm going to be able to retry that, and with a bit of RNG on my side, I should be able to clear this stage and move into 16 and see how we go. But that's pretty much it. That's what I want to talk about. Definitely the event coming up. Pick up as many of these items as you can. Allocate your stamina to farming this stuff, because even if the big items that you need aren't in it, some of the smaller items that you can then fuse together in the wilderness are going to be there, and you can get some crafting materials. And there's just honestly just a ton of great resources in this event coming up. So definitely pay attention, and definitely pay attention to upcoming events in the future. And don't be pre-farming a character before the event if you're getting their items, like I did with my A Knight boy here. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.